Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub. My name is Clay Snowden. I'm coming to you this off season, just so you have an idea of how the off season is going to look. There'll be a lot less content, as you can imagine, especially once baseball season gets started. I write for a baseball website called Just Baseball. If you've never checked that out and you're interested in baseball, head over to justbaseball.com to check that out. But I will be doing position reviews and recaps, talking about the upcoming season. Middle of summer, it'll really ramp down, but as we get closer, we're going to have some interviews coming on. I'm also going to look to find some people that can come in and just talk about some history of Michigan State hockey. Today's show will be short and sweet. I'm going to talk about the two new additions for Michigan State. I'm going to talk about Joe Exter leaving the team. I'm going to talk about Drew DeRidder transferring. Then we're going to do a goalie review. Let's go ahead and talk about the two new additions. Gavin Best, forward, will be an incoming freshman, and Justin Jallen, who is a grad transfer. Let's go ahead and talk about Gavin Best. Gavin Best, 6'2", 180. In 52 games last year, he had 19 goals, 33 assists for 53 points. Second in points, first in assists on his team, and a former captain. I'm going to show a little video clip of Gavin Best that I've pulled off of YouTube, and then we'll get into his game a little bit. Now, this does not have any sound, so if you think your sound went out, it did not. Now, I'm not a hockey prospect expert. I don't claim to be. And I'm also not going to scout a player off of 4 clips I found from YouTube's highlight tapes of him. Um, However, what you did see in these clips was a little bit of scoring touch. And what I like is his size, 6'2". Now, where is he going to slot in the lineup? That's going to be tough to tell because I don't even think that this roster is close to being finished with its kind of remake. Probably some more transfers out potentially, maybe some more coming in. These two ads, we'll see what else happens. But Coach Cole mentioned that the roster will be taking a different effect. But Gavin Best, I know a few people that I respect that cover Michigan State hockey is pretty excited about him. I won't get into a full breakdown. We're going to have Jeremy Dewar on closer to the beginning of the season or later this summer, and we're going to take a deep dive into all this. He knows so much more than I do about any of these prospects that we're talking about. So, hey, I like some size and I like some scoring touch. It's much, much needed within this lineup, especially with Lewandowski leaving and some other departures as well. Jallen, 5'9", 178, grad transfer from Brown. 94 games in his college career at Brown, 27 goals, 15 assists for 42 points. 27 goals in 97 games or 94 games won't jump off at you, but he did lead the team in goals twice, which just gives you an idea of how great that offense was or lack thereof at Brown. Let's go ahead and jump into his video. Few comments as well.
Back to Chris. Skates over toward the right board. Stops at low right circle. Oh, they score.
There's Jallen on the rink. Jallen breaks in and scores!
Here comes Brown the other way with a little speed. Snap toward net, and they score.
By Brown's Justin Jallen that put the Bears up 2-1 over Colgate late in the second period. Jallen steals the puck away from the Raider breakout.
So there's what you saw of Justin Jallen. Few things from those clips. Definitely a guy who can create his own shot. A guy who gets to the net some, scoring touch. I think he definitely has a chance to slot into the top 6 as the roster is constructed right now. I'm excited about him. We'll see. But one thing about Coach Cole, and you all know where I stand on Coach Cole. One thing about him is he's done pretty well with transfers, or adding players that have previously played in college. I know like a Middendorf went back to juniors and stuff like that. I don't think those are counted as transfers. whatever. Charlie Combs was one that we all seem to forget from the COVID season. He's done a pretty good job. If you can add another one, I mean, this team just needs scoring depth. I've said it over and over and over. You cannot be rolling out your bottom six and having, 2 goals from most of the players. Not in the Big Ten, not when you lack elite top line scorers. You have to get creative in a way, and this team just needs to become deeper. So I like the 2 ads. I'm excited to learn more about them and hear more about them. Jumping into the Joe Exter news. Joe Exter leaves the team after being here for, I believe, all 5 seasons with Coach Cole. And I have mentioned this before, but Joe Exter headed most of the recruiting for Michigan State. It was time for somebody to go behind the bench, and it looks like Joe Exter is going to be the guy. It's simple. It's really not difficult to understand. The guy who's the head recruiting coordinator is not bringing in the talent that can compete with Big Ten teams. And until someone does, Michigan State's going to finish at the bottom or near the bottom. This is far too storied of a program to just be okay with, last or second to last place finishes. It's embarrassing. Something has to change. So we'll see where recruiting goes from here. We'll see how they kind of handle that as well. I'm excited to hear from Jeremy and see what he says about some of the guys that are a couple years away but currently committed as well. I don't know if those are going to change at all with this move. I doubt it. I don't see why it would. Personally, I think that this is a good move. The next departure, Drew DeRidder. 4 years at Michigan State. Drew DeRidder transfers. As we saw him announce on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. I'll read from Drew's tweet. I'm so thankful for my time in Michigan State. These have truly been the best 4 years of my life. I'm very excited to be transferring to North Dakota for my last year. I'd like to thank my family and teammates. The last year after 4 years is that COVID year that all players were given. So I thought DeRidder was going to go pro. I thought he entered the transfer portal, and if he didn't get a good fit, he would just go pro. Well, he got a fantastic fit. North Dakota is a really good program. A lot of history there. Frankly, it's a huge upgrade for him. So I'll be following that closely. I'm sure we all will. Wish nothing but the best from Drew, for Drew and his family going out to North Dakota. I think he's going to be great. And we'll touch on him a little bit more in this next segment. But hey, that's a good get from North Dakota and a good fit for Drew as well. Let's look at the 2021 goalie review. We saw 2 goalies this year for Michigan State, starting with Drew DeRidder. Record 9-15-1. 2.94 goals against and a 918 save percentage with 2 shutouts. There's a time this year where Drew DeRidder was kind of hanging in that top 5, moving up and down the top 5 in save percentage, and he stole several games for Michigan State. These numbers don't look jaw-dropping, but in reality, he was a jaw-dropping goalie. He had a few games that were kind of shaky, but when you're talking about the sample size that he played in, he was fantastic. It was fantastic for 4 years with Michigan State, and they're losing a really good goalie here. One of my favorite to watch. I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said. This guy was incredible, and Michigan State's really going to miss him. Focusing more on the future now, Pierce Charleston. He's going to be a junior. During his sophomore year, he was 3-8 with a 3.65 goals against and a .904 save percentage. Those numbers reflect exactly why Drew DeRidder's numbers did not even look better. The defense in front of them just not very good. We all saw it. We all watched this team. There were so many flaws. I thought both of these goalies showed ability. I think Pierce Charleston still has a high ceiling. I think he's going to be in that. So in the past, decade of Michigan State hockey, we've had good goalies. The Spartans have had good goalies. I'm not part of the team. Jake Hildebrand, Ed Minnie's kind of in that of the lower of the tiers, and not to take away from Ed Minnie, he was good at times. It's just, he wasn't a Jake Hildebrand, he wasn't a Johnny Letherman, and he wasn't a Drew DeRidder. I think Pierce has the ability to join that group of goalies more than the Ed Minnie group of goalies. So yeah, you're looking at the Spartans' number one goalie right now. The biggest question is, what are they going to do at number two? John Moore's on the team, more of a third goalie type. That's the role he served in his time at Michigan State. This is going to be another transfer situation. And I wouldn't be surprised if some news comes out soon. You've got to get somebody before somebody else does. Rolling in with Pierce Charleston, no freshman goalie, and John Moore is beyond concerning. I expect big things from Pierce this year and looking forward to see how he develops. Like I said, this would be a shorter episode. This summer, there's going to be some content still, especially as we ramp up towards the season. I'm looking for somebody well-versed in Spartan hockey that will carve out some time to come in and talk about some history of Michigan State. Going to try to do some player interviews, past, present, whatever I can get. So stay tuned. Once again, this is Clay Snowden and Go Green.